It's said that depression is living in the past and that anxiety is living in the future, and that where we find peace and joy is living in the present moment. In fact, it was kind of funny. A couple weeks ago, I was driving in the car with my two youngest children, and my 9-year-old son said to me, fear wouldn't exist if we weren't worried about the future. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting thought. To which my 11-year-old daughter said, well, that's mostly true, but surely there must be other examples. And she went through one after the next, and then she said, darn it, why do you have to be so smart? Because our anxiety is worrying about what's going to happen in the future, right? We worry about all kinds of things. We worry about our future health. We worry about whether we'll have enough money in retirement. We worry about whether we're going to lose our job. We worry about whether we're going to lose our house. We worry about whether our kids will be healthy and well and whether they'll continue to make good choices. We worry about all kinds of things that are in the future. And in fact, it said that about 80% of the things that we worry about never happen. So I see that kind of worry as the most extraordinary waste of time, because if you're worrying about things that may never happen, you've just wasted all of that time. I mean, talk about an energy leak. So if you've watched any of my other videos, I like to think about the mind, body, spirit, and how they pertain, cause or effect, to any symptom, in this case, stress and anxiety. So if we start with the body and we look at it as cause, I would say it's actually very rare that the body is the cause of stress or anxiety. I mean, there are some medical conditions, sepsis or high output heart failure, or certainly there are things, like someone who gets stranded outside in the winter for 3 days, their body has created a physical stress that causes some stress and anxiety. But in general, it's very rare that the body is the cause. More commonly, the body experiences all of the effects of stress and anxiety, and we see those in many, many forms. Headaches, insomnia, fatigue, heartburn, irritable bowel, racing heartbeats, sweaty palms, shaking or tremor. That can really show up in a lot of forms. The mind plays a huge role in stress and anxiety as well. We've talked some about sort of that mental chatter, or that monkey mind, the body's or the mind's need to analyze and overanalyze every decision and trying to get to the correct decision. That stress, that perfectionist need to make the correct and one and only decision, is a huge cause of stress and anxiety for a lot of people. The mind, on the other hand, also plays a huge role in stress and anxiety in terms of both cause and effect. The mental chatter, or the monkey mind, the on the one hand, but on the other hand, back and forth analysis and reanalysis, trying to make the perfect or correct decision, is a huge cause of stress and anxiety. That need to get it right. So the mind also experiences the effects of stress and anxiety. Under extreme periods of stress, the limbic system, which is that emotional system in the brain, which is not subject to logic or reason or rational thinking, gets activated, triggering that fight, flight, or freeze response. And our ability to think and reason goes entirely offline. Our ability to communicate goes offline. It's very difficult to make a decision in that place, and one is more likely to then escape into their head, where they're then even less likely to make a good decision, which increases the stress and anxiety. Being out of alignment with the spirit is another huge cause of stress and anxiety. The spirit is the truth of who we are and what we're here to do. But the limiting beliefs held by the mind frequently get in the way of us bringing forward those yearnings and those desires. So the effects of stress and anxiety on the spirit are even more profound. Making decisions based on false core limiting beliefs or from a dysregulated belief system leads us to dismiss the soul or the spirit's yearnings, making it feel unimportant, undervalued, not heard. Think about in your own life, if in your relationships you ever feel unimportant, undervalued, or unheard. We can't expect others to treat us better than we treat ourselves. Treating the spirit the way we want to be treated, acknowledging and validating its yearnings, its desires, the things that light it up will light us up as we integrate mind, body, and spirit. So we understand the role the body, mind, and spirit play in causing and in the effects of stress and anxiety, but what do we do now? Where do we go from here? My first suggestion is to really ground into your body. You can do that in a couple different ways. One of the simplest ways is to really use all 5 of your senses. Find something to look at. Find something to smell. Listen to the sounds, the ambient noise around you, a clock ticking, the wind outside. Really pull yourself into the present moment. Find something to taste if you can. Push your feet into the floor or feel the chair, beneath your legs. I was at a conference once and we did this awesome guided meditation with an Altoid, the little mints, where we experienced all 5 senses with the Altoid. The process took maybe 30 seconds. First we really examined it. Did it have any chips out of it? It was kind of dusty, whatever. We smelled it. We felt it, between our fingertips. It was a little dusty. It was kind of firm, but it was kind of soft. We tasted it, obviously, and for hearing, we crunched it between our teeth. And that very, very brief exercise was a great way to just completely pull you into the present moment. Another one of my favorite strategies is to really focus on grounding yourself to the floor or to the ground. So breathing all the way down into your feet, really pushing your feet into the floor. Sometimes even picturing roots of a tree extending out the bottom of your feet, anchoring you to the ground, is a really great way. Something that can be done in a few seconds on the fly. You get in trouble at work or you get a call from your ex or whatever, and all of a sudden you're in your head and your stress and anxiety level is soaring. It's a really simple, concrete way to pull yourself back into your body where you can choose to respond from a grounded space rather than reacting from a triggered place. In starting with the body, I would encourage you to get rid of or eliminate, to the extent possible, things that increase the effects of stress and anxiety on the body. I would eliminate caffeine. I would eliminate junk food, processed foods in particular. I would try to eliminate sugar as much as possible. That can really increase anxiety symptoms for some people. I would make sure that you're getting enough sleep and that you're trying to get high quality sleep, that you're at least prioritizing the time for sleep. I would encourage you to get enough exercise because that also will help reduce stress and anxiety. The final step in addressing or freeing yourself from stress and anxiety is to address the needs of the spirit. To go back and look for that root, that cause, that limiting belief or that false core belief that is causing that inner conflict that is producing much of the stress and anxiety. When you find that and release it, you'll find your symptoms shift almost immediately.